Hello everyone. In this video I will teach you how to add or subtract two fractions. If you have difficulty finding equivalent fraction, it might be needed here, so you have to look into it because that's one of the ways that will help you add two fractions. So I will teach you in this video two methods of adding or subtracting two fractions. So I have here the same example and in two methods. So we have 3 over 4 plus 5 over 8. So to do this in this method, all you have to do is just multiply numbers, okay? And then at the end you just either add or subtract. So the first thing you will do is you have to multiply the denominators when you have two numbers to add, two fractions. So first multiply the denominators and write it in the denominator. 4 times 8 is 32. Okay, so you write that in the denominator. Now the second one is you have to multiply the numerator of the first number, first fraction, times the denominator of the second fraction. So 3 times 8 is 24. And then whatever the sign there is, you just put that sign. Okay. Now, then you multiply the denominator of the first number times the numerator of the second number. You see this? I just put this arrow. So 4 times 5 is 20. Okay. Now you draw another line and you write the denominator as it is, and in the numerators you add them and then write it over here. So 24 plus 20 is 44. So this is one way. I think this is the easiest way because you don't have to do anything. All you have to do is just multiply it. So you have 24 plus 20 is 44. Now you have 44 over 32. You can reduce it, okay, or make it simpler, right? Remember, equivalent fraction, you have to either reduce it or you can leave it as it is. We will look into that in another video, but right now that's enough. So the second method is called finding the lowest common denominators. We have to find a denominator that's common for this fraction and this fraction. To do that, you have to write the multiples of 4. Okay, write it as 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, and so on. And the same thing for 8. Okay, so 16, 14, 48, and so on. So once you write it like this, you can easily find the numbers that are common in here. So as you can see, these two numbers are common in the multiples of 4 and the multiples of 8. You can see 8 in here and in here, so that's why we call it common. Okay, so they're common. Another number that we can see is 16. 16 is common in multiples of 8 and the multiples of 4, and 32. Okay, so you can see that there could be a lot of common numbers in these multiplications. So but what you can do is just pick the smallest one. That's why it's called the lowest. So you pick the lowest ones, and those are your common denominators. But for this fraction, you have to multiply the numerator and the denominator by whatever number that give you 8 in here. When you multiply 4 by 2, you get 8. That's why you have to multiply the numerator by 2, the denominator by 2. So what you can do is I'll write it over here. 2 times 3 and 2 times 4. now, okay, you just write this. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 4 is 8. You write the plus as it is and write this one because it's the first one, right? So you just multiply 8 times 1. When you multiply 8 times 1, you get 8, and when you multiply 5 times 1, okay, you'll get 5 over 8. Okay, so you just, now that you can see that they are common, right? There is 8 in both of them. All you have to do is just write 8, one of them. Just write 1. You don't have to multiply this like in method 1. Okay, you just write 8, and then in the numerators, all you have to do is just add them. Write it 6 plus 5. Go further. 6 plus 5 is 11. So this is our final answer. Okay, I'll go over a few examples so you see how to do them. Okay, so it says find the sum, so we have to add these. I will do this using method 1 and then this using method 2. So in method 1 we said we have to multiply 6 times 3. 6 times 3 is 18. Okay, and then you multiply 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 1, you write the plus sign, right? Whatever sign you see here, you write it. Then 6 times 1 is 6. Again, you go further. 18, you write it. And 6 plus 6 is 12. Okay, now using method 2 for this one, again, you write the multiples of 4, 8, 12, 16, and so on, and the same thing for 8. If you don't see it, you have to keep writing. Okay, just first write a few of them, maybe you could see it. Okay, and so on. But you can see that 8 is common in here, the lowest one. This is common too. As we said before, we don't care about this because we are looking at the lowest one. So the lowest is 8. So 4 times 2 gives you 8. Okay, the same thing. 8 times 1 gives you 8. Okay, so what you do is now, because you multiply 4 times 2 together give us 8, the same thing you do, you multiply this times 2, the numerator and the denominator. So 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 4 is 8, you write the plus sign as is, and then 5 over 8. Okay, now you write a common denominator, which is 8, and you add the numerators. 4 plus 5 is 9, and over 8. Okay, so this is your answer. So use the first method, looks easier, okay, but when the numbers are too large, it becomes a little harder to do it this way. Okay, this way is much easier. You can reduce these fractions when I will show you how to reduce fractions if you have a larger number, that is. Okay, now it says find the difference. So now let's subtract it. So we'll use the first method here and again the second method. So using the first method, we said you have to multiply, right? But when you have your fractions already in common denominator, right, in the lowest terms, right, they're already in common denominator, what you do is you don't do anything, you just write 4 as it is, right, just like this second method that I showed you here, right, because it's 8 and 8, so the same thing, 4 and 4. What you do is now you just write the top 3 minus 2. Okay, now 4, we write the 4, and then 3 minus 2 is 1. That's our final answer. Now using the second method, using the lowest common denominator, again write the multiples of 6. 6, 12, 19, 24, 30, 36, and so on. The same thing with 5. 5, 20, 25, and 30. Okay, now if you look, we have to find a common number. These two are not common, so when you look at it, nothing is common except 30. There could be lots of other numbers, okay, but we don't look into that. Okay, we just want to find the lowest one. So 30 is common, both of them. Now we look, how many times did we multiply 6 to get 30? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 6 times 5 gives us 30. Now, how many times did we multiply 5 to get us 30? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 5 times 6. Now, what you do is, because we multiplied 6 by 5, now that's what you do. You multiply this by 5, the numerator and the denominator. And for this fraction, right, remember, here we have to change both fractions. And the other example that I showed you, we had to only change one. So it depends. Sometimes you have to change one of these fractions to get a common. Sometimes you have to change both of them to get their common denominator. So in here we have to change both of them. So we multiplied 5 times 6 to get 30. So that's what you do. You multiply the numerator times the same number, okay, and then 6, sorry, and the denominator times the same number. Now you say 3 times 5 is 15, 5 times 6 is 30, the sign is minus sign, okay, and then you do the same thing. Now we change this fraction, right? Remember, this is an equivalent of this fraction. They are the same thing. They will give you the same answer, except the numbers look different, okay? Now 1 times 6 is 6, 5 times 6 is 30. Now you write the common denominator here, and you write 15 minus 6, and you go further, you write 30, and 15 minus 6 is 9. Okay, so that's your answer. So using this, the lowest common denominator, you have to do this. But once you learn this, then you can do it mentally. You automatically know that 6 times 5 is 30, and then 5 times 6 is 30. In a way, this looks like the first method. You just multiply 6 times 5, you get 30. 3 times 5 is 15. Okay, but it's not like that. We did it using the lowest common denominator method. So that's it. If you need more help, just check out the links in the description I've provided. Just go over it. They're very helpful, and it can help you a lot. It will show you again the same method, and there are practices, examples you can practice for yourself. Hope you like this. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.